Okay, in part 3 of these Google Classroom videos, I'm going to be talking about the Classwork tab, which we can use to add and receive work to and from students. So this is one of my existing classrooms, and you'll see here that it is already, we're already at the end of term 1, and it's already pretty thick with work. What you'll find that this can become kind of heavy to navigate and for students to navigate over time the more you add things. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is add topics, and you can see that I've got these topics here. They're bookmarked down the side, and I can organize work into those topics. I can also move those topics around if I want to rearrange the page. What you'll also notice is that these different pieces of work here have these different symbols at the start, which mean different things. If a symbol looks like this little clipboard here, that there is a task that I've given to the students. If it has this kind of closed workbook symbol here, it's material that students can access. So I'll show you how to organize these topics and add materials and classwork in this classroom that I've created earlier. So if I go over into the Classwork tab, I don't have anything in there yet. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is to create those topics that I was talking about. And in this class, we're going to be looking at photography, and we're going to be looking at film. Okay, and I can add more topics as I go along. If I want to add materials, so such as Google slideshows that I've shown in class, then I'll go over to the Create button and I'll check Material. And you can see here that I have the option to add anything that's on my Google Drive. I can also add links if I want to add links to a web page, files if I have things like images or PDFs, or YouTube clips as well. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to add something from my Google Drive, a slideshow that I shared with my students, and it'll generally be the first thing that pops up if it's the last thing that you opened. So I'll just select that, I'll add it, and I can give this a title. I can add a description if I wanted to. And over on the side here, you see that I have the option to add this to one of those topics that I've just created. So I'm going to add this to the film topic. I also have the option of adding that to multiple classes if I'm teaching multiple classes of the same subject, or if I only want to give it to specific students in that class. I haven't added any students to this class yet, that's why you can't see any. And once that's done, I will hit post. If I wanted to add a task for the students to do, then I'll create an assignment. Don't be confused by the fact that it uses the word assignment. It doesn't mean that it's an assessment task. It just means that I'm assigning a piece of work for the students to do. I'll click on that assignment. I also have the option to add things from my Google Drive like I did in the last one. But the beauty of doing this is if I have created an assignment as a Google Doc, such as this one here, and I add that here, you can see if I use this drop-down menu, I have 3 options. The options that the students can just view the file, the options that the students can edit the file, and that means every student in the class will have editing access to that file, and it'll make a copy for each student, and I'll show you what that looks like in a little bit. But that's obviously the best option. That means that the students will all have their own individual Google Doc that they'll be able to edit, and you'll be able to see them edit it in real time because it'll add copies of that document to a Google Drive folder. Again, I'll just give that a title. I can choose to give it to all the students or individual students. I can choose to give it to multiple classes. I can choose to assign points to that task if it is an assessment task. I can choose to give it a due date or not. And I can choose the topic that I want to put it in. There's also the option of adding a rubric here, but again, if you're marking your work through your own school, through your school's own management system, then you wouldn't need to do that through Google Classroom, but the option is there. Once that's done, I'll click Assign, and there's that task there. The students will all receive an email when I put that task up. and they will get a date in their Google Calendar saying when the task is due. Another thing that I can create here is a question, and that can be just a simple, straightforward, short answer question, or it can be a multiple choice question. This can be a good thing to do if you're creating exit tickets to a classroom, or if you just want to make sure that students are on the same page with a piece of information that you've taught them. Just give them a simple question, they can answer it, and then you can bring it up in the board and see everyone's responses. You also can see down here that you can have the option for the students to reply to each other, which can be a good thing if you want some discussion on a particular topic. And the students can go back and edit their answers, which is something that you might want them to do, you might not want them to do. You'll also see here that there's a quiz assignment option, and I'm going to talk about that in a later video.